we've been playing with different ideas on what we were going to end up finishing this guitar in. I knew from the start that shellac and an oil combination would be certainly part of it, but I didn't know how pretty it would end up looking and where, well, the back actually looks quite good. The plan was, if the binding failed utterly, and it's not perfect, but that's to be expected for a first time. It's damn sight better than my first 4 or 5 or 6 goes at this. Anyway, if that binding joint along there had been particularly bad, we were going to stain the back black or cherry red or something like that. And the same thing with the front. I was thinking, oh, we'll stain it nice black and have gold hardware and be black and gold and all that. But this figured ash comes up a beautiful gold just if you wet it. And the binding job is not at all
horrific.
There we go. So what we're going to do is a shellac and oil mix. Now, most commercially available oils, for example, tung oil and teak oil and things like that, it's not a natural oil. It's not oil. It's an oil and varnish mix. So that's something to bear in mind when you decide you're not going to wear a mask for 10 years while using oil because you don't think that it's bad for you. It's bad for you. I'm talking from experience, yeah? However, Howard, he sanded down this whole thing. It's almost perfect. I've just noticed one last thing he needs to do, which is round over the edges of the binding a little bit and scrape the binding clean with a scalpel.
We mentioned that like 4 days ago.
We did.
And I haven't actually got to doing it.
Well, we're at that stage now, so that's good. So yeah, the binding needs to be finely cleaned up, and then we are going to attack it with a shellac and oil mix. First of all, we are going to put shellac on, and we're going to rub it in across the grain, and it'll act as a grain filler. And we'll do that with wire wool, I think. And we'll build it up, keep on rubbing it down, and then start putting oil on. And it'll be a Danish oil probably. And the final finish is going to be something that you can do at home with 2 products that you can buy very cheaply and easily. Hell, they sell teak oil at places like B&Q and etc. And the beautiful thing is, it's a professional, shiny looking finish that doesn't involve a spray gun or even a brush, and can be done very easily at home, which is the whole point of this project. So let's do a close-up teaching scraping binding quickly.
Simple. Once you get your hand in the right position and you feel the edge of the blade hitting then all you need to do is watch where the tip's going. And it's dead easy.
That is the main thing. A lot of times that I've done this, it's been on a guitar with a sunburst or paint, and the last thing you want to do is scrape through the paint and leave a nice line of wood. So, well, this is the ideal instrument to practice on, really.
The only difficult bits are where the glue melted through the bindings when I put too much glue on.
Yes.
It doesn't quite want to take down.
Yeah, the thing is, if you are scraping a long flat surface, it loves scraping and is relatively easy to do. If you're trying to scrape over bumps and lumps and things like that, the scraper just tends to accentuate those lumps and bumps, which isn't an ideal situation. So in that case, you need to sand flat first and then scrape clean. We need to find the centre line, screw a hook in the back so that we've got somewhere to hang the guitar as it's curing. We are going to be applying an oil. Make yourself, well, of course you can use a brush or a cloth if you like. I like using this white paper, which is a problem because my suppliers just stopped supplying it. Paper has a certain amount of abrasive in it. It's made using clay, and I find that this stuff helps polish as I go. It's like using a very fine wire wool to apply your finish. Give yourself a good tool, put a glove on, and that pad area is going to be what you use to apply the oil. When you're doing the top, don't let it drip over the sides, because you might end up with a drip mark, especially on your initial coat. So you need to work from the center to the outside when you get to the edges. It's always a good idea when putting the initial coats of anything on, stain or finish, to go with the flame, which will hide any streaking, etc. That's more of an issue when you're doing a black stain or something like that. But then once you've put the first coats on, you go from there and just do what you need to do to apply it. We're using a Danish oil. It's an oil varnish composite, I'm sure, and this is going to seep into the grain, make the grain pop, and then we're going to put shellac on top of it to build it up quicker, and then more oil to get a shine. This is a finish that you can do at home that I suspect, if we do it right, will come up looking amazing. And I've decided I'm not going to stain this. I'm not going to do anything. The back is I'm not doing anything. Howard's doing it all. The back is actually rather pretty. There's some figuring in it. The joints are not too bad. We have struck it lucky, really, with that bit of wood. So, well, let's see what happens. In steps Howard with his nitrile gloves on. We have a back to do as well. This is less easy to handle than a 3-neck instrument. But then maybe that's because I tend to build 3-neck instruments. There's less of an effect here, but the cumulative thing is going to be a rather pretty guitar. So now we are going to basically be putting a coat of oil on probably every couple of hours at the moment, and then wiping off the excess. And it's very important to wipe the excess off, and that's just to build it up. And once it's built up a little bit, we will then go on to shellac. And shellac is amazing. It's a universal finish, and it's natural mostly, apart from the huge quantities of methylated spirits in it. So the oil goes into the wood and penetrates, making a lovely sheen. And then we start applying shellac on top of that. Build the shellac up to give a layer of protection, and we're using a darker coloured shellac. It's quite strong, and a nice thick cut that we made here, or mixed here at least, and it's going to colour the instrument a little bit. But yes, so shellac, it dries in about 5 or 6 minutes, and you can put more coats on after 10 or 20. Build it up, and then we're going back to the oil, and we're going to end up with something gorgeous.